All right, everybody. I have a very, very special guest joining me on this episode. Come on, Johnny.
Hi!
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Queer trauma is something that it happens so much in our community.
It does. It really does.
Let's dig in.
Let's dig in. Let's
go.
do it.
I'm sitting waiting and I'm wishing on a star.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to One More Thing with Ash. I am so excited for you guys to join us for episode 5. We're a little way halfway through the season, and I am so excited to have one of my good friends, Johnny, here.
Hi.
We have explored so many topics throughout the season. Generational trauma, we've done relationship trauma, we talked about how trauma can teach us. But in this episode, we're going to talk about trauma and being queer.
Ooh.
Oh. See, we can like zoom in on you there.
Ooh.
All right.
I wonder how that feels like.
Exactly. But I want to, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're joining us back, welcome back.
Hi.
This is your safe space to be and heal while having one honest conversation at a time. So I want to welcome you to One More Thing. Johnny, welcome. I've known Johnny for 5 years.
Love it.
Just love it. We've followed each other on Instagram for that long, and we've seen each other grow and go through different phases and go through other people and produce our own shows.
Yes.
And I'm
Both
finally,
of us. Look at us.
I'm finally-
Entrepreneurs.
I'm finally getting in my lane here.
Yay.
But anyways, Johnny Gentleman is a Latinx trans mask actor and drag king veteran who has worked hard to break down boundaries in the name of the drag king, non-binary, and BIPOC
Yes.
communities in Los Angeles. He has been an activist for drag king, non-binary, and BIPOC equality in the drag community. He started LA's first drag king brunch, Dapper Puss, which I remember going to those. Now at Untamed
Spirits. in Silver Lake. Yeah.
Untamed Spirits in Silver Lake, and creator of LA's premier all drag king competition, The Last Gentleman. So welcome, Johnny, to One More Thing.
Hi. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I could not think about anybody else to do the queer episode with but you. Like I said, I've admired you for the last 5 years and seen your growth, and like now you have a family, which is crazy.
Nuts.
My family consists of me and my cousin, my apartment, and our cat. So
I love that.
that's it. But I am really thrilled to have you here. So welcome to One More
Thank you
Thing.
for having me. I'm so honored to be here, especially talking about this topic.
Yeah.
It's something that not a lot of people talk about. So.
You know, I mean, whether you grew up in a traumatic household or chaotic household or a non-accepting household or a unsure religious household.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's like, I thought you knew about being gay, and I was like, Mom, I knew about your one gay friend, but I didn't even know what gay meant. So here
no
we are.
ma'ams.
So this is a pretty dense topic, so I kind of want to break it up a little bit. But there are sources of where queer people get trauma from. It's discrimination, it's harassment. Like does it start somewhere in childhood, or can it start anywhere? Like, what do you think?
I think it just depends on the person, right? So for me, for example, I've been born into it. My parents aren't really in love with each other. So my dad is a very notorious cheater, and he was physically and emotionally abusive.
Sure.
You know, my mom was in the military. Both of them are immigrants. And then being Catholic, military, and Latinx is just like so much.
a whole sphere of things.
All scared things. So, you know, for me at least, I was born into it, and I've kind of, I've been in fight or flight mode all my life, really. I've had to defend myself against my own father, you know, fight him to protect my sisters, you know, and it's kind of one of those, so it's a sociological thing. Like, I took a sociology class, and they talked about how when people of trauma are in a household that's very traumatic,
Sure.
there's two different types of ways that they react to it. Rather, they repeat the cycle because that's a normal thing for them, or they see that and they said, I want to do the complete opposite of that.
Right.
And so for me, I've always been that person that I've seen it, what has happened in my household, and I don't want that.
You
And
don't
I've
repeat it,
worked,
yeah.
I worked so hard for it. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to just be with somebody that to be safe. I want to be in love with somebody. I want to have kids with somebody that like is going to be loving and caring and supportive, and also like have the household I wish I could have had, you
Right.
know? And so I think when it comes to trauma, it all depends on the person's journey. All of us have a certain amount of journey, whether it's we have supportive parents, but we're bullied a lot, or in many situations where, especially being queer, even when we don't identify it out there and people see it in us, you know, we get targeted as these people to pick on or to abuse, and you know that's how we end up with a lot of queer people that have been, you know, have had sexual violence happen to them, have had drug issues, you know, everything like that. So I think it just depends on the person's journey, what they've gone through. And I have seen that, unfortunately, a lot of queer people end up having so much trauma.
Yeah. And they, you know, like you mentioned, like they have different ways of coping, whether it's drugs or alcohol or being okay, being in the same relationship situation with someone that doesn't love you a lot or loves you out of convenience, or they just like, I can't be loved anymore, so I'm just gonna settle for whoever it is.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, in my situation, I feel like I was really privileged in my sense, and that's part of the reason why I want to start this podcast, so we can create a safe space for people that don't have that space. I grew up in a Catholic household.
Yes, Catholic.
Italian Filipino household.
Ooh.
And I didn't come out to the age of 21. My mom claims that she had one gay friend and his husband that came into town. My mom's like, hey, I'm like, Mom, I was in not a fortunate situation that I did not experience, like, you know, being beat or had to fight for something. And so when I hear stories like that, it's like, dang, like I gotta take a step back and being like, okay, everyone has their certain situation, and we need to be compassionate towards that and realize it is real. And how can we help somebody change their state of mind to realize that we don't want you to repeat the traumatic cycle that you're going through. And I think you're doing a really good job.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm trying. It's hard.
Johnny has a wife and a kid.
I do.
And from that, I'm like, it's just you got to just fight for what you're going for and everything like that. So I mean, a lot of people, I think they get a lot of harassment too. I mean, I went to Catholic grade school and Christian high school, and all my friends were women in high school, and we're gonna not say on this podcast because I don't want to mark this as explicit, but you know, the F word, and you know, princess and alt femboy and all the other things, and being teased by the football players in my this was my last year Bible class, Journey to Manhood. I was like, wait, applause. And you know, it gets traumatic though, because you're just like, I didn't want to come out. I wanted to come out, and I was secretly in my bedroom looking at sweaty guys on YouTube and whatever, and you know what I mean. And so it's just I experienced harassment and discrimination from and my parents were like, my mom was like, oh, and then she didn't really understand it until I came out and had a boyfriend in college and all the other things, and she was like, oh, I didn't realize you dealt with that. I said I appreciated the education, I just didn't appreciate the people around me.
Yeah.
So I mean, Catholic, whew. I mean, I have recently, you know, gone back a lot because of all the family passings that I have experienced in the past 6 months, and I've gone to the same church that I went baptized and all the other things, and I think like that trauma we talked about in episode 2 how trauma can help us.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean, I broke a lot of my trauma stuff meeting my grade school teachers going, they wanted to talk to me, and I told them exactly what I did. They were like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, I'm in gay nightlife, and they're like, oh. They're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But, you know, we're going to talk religion in the next episode.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
But do you think queer people are more likely to experience trauma more than others?
I do. I do think they are. Like I said earlier, I feel like we're just like special human beings that the universe has created. Especially because our community is very much about love and acceptance. Right. And, you know, I feel like, I believe at least, that we're born like that.
Right. I do too.
And so in a world, especially in this crazy ass country, being like that could be seen as weak or sensitive. Like I mean, I got told, like, suck it up and deal with it. Don't let anybody cry. You know what I mean? So, like, I had to bottle up my emotions, but I was always very sensitive, and I'm the sensitive one in my family. But also,
Why is that? Why do people think that queer people are just sensitive to everything? I'm like, trust me. Go back to episode 5 and season 1 about love. Not all queer people are sensitive.
No. But we're emotionally intelligent.
There we go.
Well, that's a thing.
That is a thing, yeah.
I think that's a superpower. But I think people see that in us and then think of that as a threat, because it actually makes us stronger people.
Okay. Rather
than, you know, being mediocre or being like, manly, or like, oh yeah, like, I'm super fan. Like, you know, being pretty much basic.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, so I think that's the reason why we're always getting made fun of. I think also people, like I said, people are threatened by it, so they feel like the only way to gain power is to attack. So that could be in many ways of, like, sexual violence, emotional and physical violence, you know, bullying, name calling, all the different things.
I think, like, in this, like, when I was growing up, I think it was a lot more harsh. I'm sure kids nowadays are experiencing it. Probably not on I mean, I can't vouch for anybody, but from what I've observed, they're not doing it on a harsher level. I mean, the climate that we're living in, I won't name his name on this podcast because he doesn't deserve to be on this podcast. Anyways, but I think the culture that we're living in now, like, kids nowadays, they don't care.
They don't care.
They really
don't. And the people that do care, like the teens that do care, are douchebags, and most of them are like the right-wing people that their parents are right-wing, and it's just like lame, and they try to do
or if it's not even politics, sometimes it's just because they're insecure about themselves. And they might be closeted, who knows.
Exactly. And it's like, I'll see you in 5 years at the Abbey or something, you know. Just it'll happen. It'll happen.
See you at the Abbey. You wild.
Hey, that's the first gay club I feel like any barely queer person
you gotta break your
you break your virginity there.
Yeah, you're
and then
it's true. But I think, like, because, like, it's because our society, I think California is a little bit different. Obviously, you go to Orange County or whatever, it's a little bit different. But, like, I think if somebody sees a queer person that, you know, we tend to be a little more dressed up, a little clean, stuff like that. Not that the other side is. But I feel
more
like
fabulous. That's what we're trying to say.
That's it. We
are more fabulous.
We're
iconic. We're born this way. You know what I mean?
But I think, like, we do experience a lot more trauma, and I think the harassment and discrimination isn't so much harsher on gay folks as it's heavier on trans folks.
Yes.
And especially nowadays, even politically speaking, and just in general, the way people speak about trans people in general, I think it's just it's wild to me. It's like, I'm like, what is it your business who I go to bed with, or what do I decide to put inside my body, or what did I decide to put on, what I decided to wear? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always break it down to people, and I broke my, how old is my grandfather? 84-year-old Italian grandfather down. I was like,
I love this.
I said, so, you drive a Mini Cooper, right? He goes, yeah. I said, well, I don't like your Mini Cooper. I think it's stupid.
I hate
And
Mini Coopers.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean though? It's like that. It's like I don't tell you what to drive.
Yeah.
I don't tell you what bed sheets to buy. I don't tell
Exactly.
you what fruit to buy at the store. I don't tell you what to put inside your body. It's the exact same thing about being queer. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that it also has to go back, and we talked about this in the last episode about generational trauma. It's like it goes back to like the way the person grew up
Yep.
and the way they're reacting. And
Oh
so
yeah.
but also it's like and you come from the mentality is like you want to do better for your kid. I want to do better for my nieces and my nephews, and
Exactly.
not. I mean, like I said, I boyfriend out there, future boyfriend. If you're gonna watch this later, here we are. But
You made it.
you made it, yeah. Oh my gosh, but yeah, it's. I think we experience trauma more just because people they have insecurities, and B,
Mhm.
like they just see someone that's trying to live the most authentic version of themselves,
Mhm.
and they're like, oh, you're gay, oh, you're trans, oh, you're whatever you are, and like they just have to give you harassment and call you names and discriminate you and
Yep.
like push you to the side and like push you out of the lunch line at school.
So stupid.
It's crazy. And then it's I just high school was traumatic. I mean, traumatic for me. Like I couldn't dress the way I wanted to dress. I couldn't like I had to secretly hide. I had a girlfriend.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh.
yeah, see? Everyone has the same reaction.
What?
And that didn't work out. I had to close my eyes and like think of like a guy and everything like that. And like I did the girlfriend thing to get everybody off my back
That makes
and,
sense.
and just leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, now that I go over everything with my family, they're just like, so how is she? I'm like, well, we're friends now. She's married, so we're good.
We're good.
And
We're homies. We're
that's
okay.
it. That's it. But I mean, we're talking about if queer people experience more trauma, but what misconceptions do people often have about queer trauma that you wish people better understood? Like, if you were, like, if talking to our viewers out there
Yeah.
that are straight, that
Yes.
obviously haven't experienced queer trauma, what
Mm.
misconceptions do you think? Like, I mean, some straight folks don't have queer friends,
Yes.
so
Which
what
I'm
would
so sorry for you.
you need to have a little bit of
You
queerness in
you
your life.
need at least one.
You need at least
You-
one. One.
One.
Well, what misconceptions would you tell that person that's unsure?
This is actually a really good question because I thought of my sister when I read this.
Okay.
Um, because I'm the only. First off, I'm the only trans person in both sides of my family. My dad's side is very queer. Many lesbians, many gay uncles. It's great, fantastic. But I'm the first ever trans family member on
Okay.
both sides. So that was very scary, and I grew up with my mother and my sisters being like, I don't understand why people would want to change their gender. So that didn't help me. But whenever I go to my older sister's house, she's married with my two beautiful nephews that are my life, and I love them.
Right.
But as of recently, she's kind of been a little bit more conservative on the conservative side, which doesn't make any sense to me. But she'll ask like, "How have you been?" And I'm like, we're going through it. The queer community is getting attacked.
Right.
I work at a nonprofit organization, so they're defunding. So that means I'm not getting my salary that I'm used to, and now I'm having to hustle more money. And at the same time, being a trans person in a trans marriage with an IVF baby is kind of scary because the government is threatening to revoke our rights as parents. And so we're having to prepare all these things and prepare, like, if we need to escape, we gotta make a plan and stuff like that, if we're going to Mexico or if we're going to Canada or something like that. So like these are the everyday struggles that we have to deal with, aside from being trans. And at least for me, being out there, I'm somewhat passing, but sometimes I get clocked and it's a little scary. But these are the constant fears that I always have to think about, and aside from other things. And I try to explain that. And she was like, well, it just seems like you're bad energy. And I'm like,
Interesting.
okay, the fuck?
Right.
But I think for me is she's hearing it as a lot of complaints
Okay.
when in reality, like, it's a real life struggle.
Mhm.
It's very much, I think what a lot of straight people don't understand is that there is literally historical facts in which queer people have been arrested from their own spaces for being queer and just being there. And also
Yeah.
during, we're going to go back in history because I'm a history buff.
Do it.
But, during World War II, they not only were, people of Jewish religion being, put in concentration camps, but also queer folks were also put in there and were labeled with a pink triangle,
Mhm.
and they were being eliminated alongside them. So these are factors that this is evidence of the amount of hate that can demolish and that people will try to do to destroy our community, even though all we want is equal rights, uh, a place at the table, and just to be seen and respected.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want any highlighted things in our lives. We just want a normal life with normal
Things. Yeah.
problems, normal job, pay your rent, normal issues.
Well, I think it goes like devil's advocate for like a straight person that has misconceptions. It's like, oh, it goes beyond like, I mean, obviously everybody experiences name calling and bullying and whatever like that, but it goes beyond like y'all have your rights.
Yeah.
And we're fighting for them. And I know that, like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, is like we're working on the gay thing, but we got to work on the trans thing now.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's a crazy part, because now it's like there's actual states that are passing laws to discriminate trans people regarding a bathroom, which is like really crazy, because I don't think women want me in their bathroom. I mean, I'm fun, but like, I want you to feel safe. But these are things that us as trans people have to worry about all the time, especially like if we're in a conservative area, we have to somewhat find a way to pass so that way we're not targeted.
Yeah.
And I even at Disneyland, I was at Disneyland this past weekend,
Okay.
and there was a guy that was literally following me in and out of the male bathroom, and he just kept staring at me and was like, and I had my daughter with me. She's like barely almost gonna be 2, and I'm just washing her hands, and it's like my hoodness came in, and I was like, fwa, fwa, fwa. But not everybody has that kind of thing, and I was scared, and it's I was at the happiest place on earth, like with my daughter, like
trying to create memories for her, and
trying to make memories, and I just needed to piss, dude. Like, I'm just washing my hands, and getting clocked, and these are things that I have, like, me and trans people on a daily basis have to worry about all the time.
Yeah, I think I experienced that one time where, well, back in the day, I used to wear a lot of dresses and a lot of makeup, and you remember.
I mean, yes, you're fabulous.
I was
amazing.
Fabulous. I went.
You are fabulous.
I am fabulous. I went through yeah. Anyways, but I would walk into bathrooms and like with heels and makeup and everything, and like and probably in Monterey where I grew up, and like my family obviously was fine, but like I would get stares from everybody, and my mom would be like, "That's my son, leave him alone." And I'm like, but you are right. Like, we have to look over our shoulders. I think like queer people and women get a lot of that like watchful eye and those creepers and those just weirdos in general that look over our shoulders. And so I think like it goes like I said, the misconceptions, it goes beyond like the bullying and the name calling and whatever. It goes towards like, what, you're not really like helping us. You're really like, you're not. So I think but I think there's certain conversations that we can have. And I think we are getting there. I think we're in a changing world. There are some people that just don't want to have a conversation. That's fine.
Totally fine.
That's totally fine. But realize that people don't realize, and we've talked about everyday life lessons in this season, is that we're all in this together, and it's not just you versus me. Like, we're all like moving pieces in this thing called life, as generic as that sounds, but it's really true. Like, we all have a job, whether you are, I don't know, working at McDonald's, or
Mm-hmm.
you're a street cleaner, or you're in nightlife, and and so we all have a part of this. So I think that, what conversations do you, around queer trauma, do you think still need to happen more openly? Because we talked about, like, obviously we talked about, there's more that we're working on the gay thing, we're working on the trans thing, but is there a specific conversation that, if you were to sit down with somebody, that you need to have, what you would want to have?
I think something that I think would be helpful, especially in our community and especially in nightlife,
Mm.
is like just having a conversation about um, awareness of people with disabilities or autism. Just because, like, at least in nightlife, it's very loud. It's
Very.
very loud. It can be very overwhelming. Claustrophobia is a thing,
Right.
and people with disabilities, especially autism, have very sensitive, like, they have their own thing that makes them comfortable. And so I don't think that there's a conversation happening about that where there could be
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
where there can be accommodations. We can have earplugs at the door in case it's a little overwhelming, or a safe area that's distant from everybody, but it still can be a part of it. You know what I mean? And um, I know in some shows there's like a volume limit that they do just to not annoy people's sensory,
Right.
which is really nice. But I think that's something that needs to be recognized, because I know for me at least, like, the older I get, the more I'm kind of like, I can't be in spaces for a long period of time because it gives me anxiety, and
Sure.
then it's like, also, like, I might be on the spectrum, I might have ADHD. I still need to get tested, but I know a lot of my friends that have autism and disabilities that they just, like, don't feel they're being seen
Right.
or accommodated, and it's just simple things of, like, opening a conversation to that community and just
Right.
seeing how, as producers, we could do better, or as a community we can do better. But
I think it's, yeah, it's just
yeah.
yeah, it's just like creating space. I didn't even think about that. It's, I mean, if you're a raver out there, like, they give you earplugs and stuff like that and whatever, but I didn't even think about, like, especially, like, we can talk about this, like, nightlife has changed in the last 5 years that we've been
Oh
involved.
God, yeah.
I was just an onlooker and going to drag shows and whatever, and going to different events and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm in the realm of producing events, promoting events, and the nightlife circle has really nightlife life really has
Yeah.
changed a lot, and, like, the bars in West Hollywood and the bars just around in general, like, it's the trauma can really, it can be intense too, with the loudness, and there's a lot of people, and you're in a space where you're wanting to flirt with somebody, or have a go dance with your wife,
Yeah.
go dance with your husband or your partner or whatever, but it's changed a lot,
It has.
and
Yeah.
it's traumatic, and there's times where we're just like, I don't even want to go.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-mm.
it's a little overwhelming, and I feel like the outer world doesn't see the gay, queer bars in general as, like, a safe space, and not all gay people are like, oh my god, yes, queen, like,
Yeah, we're not.
that is that Gen Z group.
Yeah.
And but it's it can create some trauma, and I didn't really think about that, like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these are conversations that I've been kind of discovering recently
Right.
and, like, having with my friends. And also, like, I mean, what made it worse is, like, these nightlife spaces, they're fun, they're great, I love them.
Mhm.
But, like, like the last time I saw you,
Yeah.
uh, I I apparently got roofied.
Really?
Yeah.
We were having a good time, and
We were having a good time.
catching up a little bit,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But somehow I got roofied because I
Oh.
got home and apparently I was. I don't
Singing
know.
to the choir.
No, apparently, like, I blacked out. I don't remember what happened, but then my spouse had to explain that, like, I was going up and down stairs, and then like I was in the car sleeping, and then something happened, and I scared my daughter because I was acting weird, and like I have never acted like that in my life. Like even drunk, not even. Like
That's crazy.
So, and I did feel like my body like a little hangover thing.
Yeah, had a
Like
headache.
yeah. And I was like, I don't understand this, and I'm like, I know this is not alcohol, because with alcohol, I know that alcohol, but this is a different thing.
It's scary and things to think about where versus like you're at a house party, you can put your drink down, you're with friends, etc. But at a club, it's like you have to have eagle eyes.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of like my go-go friends, like he put his phone down. And I was like, babe, grab your phone, hold it, because literally a phone snatcher was about to grab it. And like 5 years ago, we weren't experiencing
none of that.
Any of that.
None of it.
You would just show up to a drag show, give the queen or king a bill, and just go on your merry way home.
If you wanted to do some snow, you let person know and who has it, and y'all go to the bathroom, whatever.
That's it. That's the way.
Consensual.
It was consensual. But nowadays, it feels like our community is oversaturated by society.
Yes.
Where like it's like, and I've tried my best to create events, and and a bunch of our friends are trying to create events that are for the community.
Yeah.
And it's not for the tourists.
Exactly.
We want to create spaces for trans people. We want to create spaces for API and the Black community, etc. By the time this gets out, we're gonna already be with my API, but no. But anyways,
hey, we're including everyone.
We're including everyone. So it's like I keep saying, like it has changed a lot, and so it can create more trauma and more pressure on our community.
Yeah.
Versus going to some regular bar in Hollywood and having a martini somewhere. Like it's completely different. Like you don't go to the frickin', I don't know, Ritz-Carlton and have to worry about someone slipping a roofie in your espresso martini.
Exactly.
No, you're there. You forget about it. You turn around and take a sip, etc. But it happens a lot, not just in West Hollywood. It happens everywhere. So these are the conversations like we think we need to talk about, and I think another just conversations we need to have about it is just making sure I've learned with my communications background is to like with those people that are hard to talk about. I mentioned my grandfather previously, is to like kind of like baby step it away, and people do come around. Like my Italian side, strong Catholics, they finally came around last year.
Yay!
And they were just like, "You're actually like kind of cool." I was like, "Thanks."
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, and in your sense, like I am the only gay person in my family on both sides.
Yeah.
I think my niece, she came out as bisexual to me. So
oh my god, my niece did too. Yay.
So we're like the only, but she keeps going back and forth. So I'll wait for her to decide. So, but until then, I am the reigning queen, Your Majesty the Third, the family.
Love.
But let's see here. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of conversations that need to happen. So
yeah, we need a lot of conversations, and us as a community need to like
be open to it, and and there are different parts of the community, and it also falls back on us as a queer community that we need to be more open to talking to conversations with other queer people to learn about different folks in different sects of the community. Like I learned so much about the trans community in the last 5 years. Or it's like when I hear something about the trans community, I'm just like, wait, hold your mouth. That's not correct. You know what I mean? And just being able to call people out in a nice and respectful and professional way.
Yes.
And being able to have the conversation. And if someone's not able to have the conversation, it's totally fine. Be like, you know what? Seems like you're not ready to have this conversation. Let's pick up where we left off later. But how do you think queer people learn to protect themselves emotionally? That's right. I was writing this up. I was going, this is a great question to ask.
This is very much a great. I was going through it on the way here, and I was like, God damn, these are good.
When I asked Johnny, I was like, okay, great, he's on board. I'm gonna write this beautiful episode. But anyways, like, while you're thinking about that,
Mm-hmm.
I think queer people learn to protect themselves emotionally. Where it's like, we've talked about how trauma and you have triggers in the
Yes.
past episodes, and
Yeah.
so when you emotionally, like a lot of people, me, shut down,
Yeah.
want to hide in the hole, want to hide in my
Mm-hmm.
bedroom, and just cut myself off and just throw my phone away for the whole
Yeah.
day and like look at it if there's something important. But like, I think those coping mechanisms are based off of what you've seen growing up and
Mm-hmm.
who you've been around.
Yep.
And out of respect, I won't name who it is, but growing up, I was around a lot of family members where I recognized that they shut themselves off when they get, then there's something triggering. Um, but for me, it's like I still do it. I'll be guilty. I am guilty. I do shut myself off,
Yes.
but I end up coming back and saying like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry" and stuff like that, and kind of just move on from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think emotionally speaking, like I think I have created a shield when someone calls me a derogatory queer term, like
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and so emotionally, it's like you can like it's like you can throw any word you want at me. You can discriminate against me. I really don't care. Because majority of the time, and I think you can agree, they're looking for a reaction.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, great. That's great. I know. All right, cool. And just move on from that. I think that's the way I protect myself emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't let it bother me, or I just like kind of just like be like, I'm not. I don't need to be in this conversation.
Yeah. No. I think I do a lot of the same thing. um. I have a lot of patience, which is great. And I hate confrontation, but I'm very good at like maneuvering it. Just because I have 3 Virgo sisters,
Oh.
so I've learned to adapt many different personalities and negotiate arguments. Um, so when I get to a point of like sadness or anger or like a limit, I very much shut down and just kind of like isolate myself and I don't move and I have a serious face and I just do my own thing. I don't hear, I don't see anybody else. And that's how you will know that I am very much mad, angry, or anything in between.
Yeah, I have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And so when that patience limit is breached, I you know, a lot of my friends like you've never seen me yell,
Yeah, no.
but when you see me yell, I have completely lost it,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like I'm a pretty blunt person, so it's just like at the same time it's like I need to be around people that can recognize those emotional triggers and be like, okay, Ash has had enough,
Yeah.
or this person's had enough,
Yep.
and I need to step back, and then once they're cooled off, being like, hey, Johnny, I'm like really sorry for X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
but that's the way I emotionally.
Yeah, no, same. I'm like, just don't talk to me. Give me a sec. I need to go cool. And then once I'm in a more healthier mindset, then I will be like, hey, I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. Because in my head, first off, I'm a Leo, so I will
Another
go
fire
off.
sign. I'm an Aries.
Oh my god! My daughter's son is in Aries. That's
Oh, great.
fun. So I'm very much like protective attack mode
Sure.
when I'm mad. So like I will destroy you, which is very bad. And I will say things that I will regret. So thanks to therapy, I think that's a lot of where queers help to find
How to
help heal
protect
their trauma is
Yeah.
through therapy. But you know, just kind of you know, recentering, and then once I'm recentered and I'm breathed and I'm fine, I'm more calm. Then it's mostly about talking it out. But when it comes to like people attacking my friends and stuff like that, I will go off and I will get very in the face if it's going too far. Usually I don't get that way too much, but when it does, like it's full throttle.
Yeah.
But I think as far as the queer community, a lot of us have just resorted to therapy and try to practice the therapy practices that our therapists tell us, because unfortunately unlike straight people, um, and especially people of color,
Mm-hmm.
if we react in a wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
then we get more of a harsher punishment,
Right. Right.
or we're gonna get um, more judgment towards us, or we're gonna get more discrimination happening,
It's
or
true.
more violence.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, for our own safety, figure out a way to not let things get to us to a point where we're gonna break, and if we do, make sure it's a healthy release rather than one that's gonna bring more danger to us.
Yeah. I think like it's just things don't change when you're aggravated or anything like that. I think things change when you come from a very centered and well-rounded space and coming from a place of A, compassion,
Yeah.
and B, knowledge of the situation. And I think I've gotten to a point where I can be like, this person's not ready. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about like right now, but like in the past, have you used that emotional shutdownness to isolate you, like
Mm-hmm.
where you just like, I know for me, like there were times where I was so overwhelmed with school, and I don't think I ever shared this with my parents, but there was just days at Christian high school where I wasn't. It wasn't bully to the way it was harassment, but it got to a point where I heard the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, where it really did affect me. And my mom was like, "Why aren't you eating?" And she was like knocking on the door, and she would like open the door and like leave food there, and she's like, "Why aren't you telling me what's up?" I made something up, so she didn't have to
Yeah,
know
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But it has turned into isolation. I feel like it, and then I mentioned this in parts of the season. Like it's okay to isolate yourself and have that time for yourself, but it's also important to like get back up, and like things don't change if you decide to be in one place forever.
Yeah.
It's just stagnant, being stagnant. But
I know for me, and maybe some trans folks feel this way. It's like our defense mechanism to isolate from people that we love and stuff like that, comes from a place of safety because we fear rejection.
right.
So, like for me, for example, there's a lot of friends that I stopped talking to for years.
Yeah.
Once I started transitioning, or I kept my distance because I was scared of rejection, and I wanted them to just see me for who I was. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, hey, I've been isolating them. I need to contact them and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, try to rebuild something, because my defense mechanism is, if I push them away, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to get disappointed. And so
I know that feeling.
and so now I realized, you know what, I did it a little too far. I distanced really amazing people that have supported me since the beginning, and
Yeah.
really loved me, and this is not what they deserve. And so I'm gonna try to make a difference and try to reach out and try to heal this. And so that's I feel like there's some people like that they're just like scared of rejection, or they're scared of being alone, and just like scared of having nothing, when in reality, there's not only people that are going to love and accept you, but there's also like a full community that they won't even know they won't even know your name maybe the first night, and then they'll give you a hug and tell you you're beautiful, which is a beautiful thing, which I love about queer culture, and I love my community for it. And
I think you just have to find your safe space and your
Yeah.
people. I grew up like having a lot of girlfriends, and now a lot of my friends are all queer. My longtime best friend is straight. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
She's always been an ally. She's always been there for me. So, but we just have to create spaces that are open and be around the right people. It's okay to cut people out of your life.
Yes.
And if they're willing to come back, then they can do that. I think the more authentic you become, you are able to see who belongs in your life and who doesn't. and realized you shouldn't be able to sacrifice a part of you in order to fit somebody else's expectations of you.
Yes.
I've created a very thick line with my family. It's like, this is who I am, deal with it, or I don't want to talk to you. And I'm in a very fortunate situation where I would say 95% of my family is cool with me. I know a lot of queer folks out there don't have that same situation. And I'm glad that you're joining us at One More Thing, and I'm glad we can be your friend for this.
Hi, friend.
Look, see, hey, comment down below. I'm glad we're going to be your friend here. But do you think, and I can definitely answer this question as well.
Yeah.
Do you think you've had to choose between authenticity and safety because of trauma?
Yes.
Yeah.
I denied my queerness all my life. I didn't realize I was pansexual until I was like 22, and then I started my transition when I was 28.
Okay.
So I came out later in life. But I, growing up, I never wanted to do girl things. It's like I would literally asked my teachers to give me male parts in plays because I wanted to wear pants. And so I did.
Fair enough.
But, growing up, especially in a Latino household, and if, being first generation, you're put these expectations on you that you need to fulfill, especially as a woman. And they were just unrealistic, and I didn't want to be that. And I sacrificed a lot of my happiness because I was scared of losing my family.
Yeah.
And that meant I had boyfriends that were always cheating on me and have done horrible things to me, and kind of had the same situation like you with your girlfriend, where I had to like had to pretend that like my hot friend was on top of me. You know what I mean? Like, because that was the only way I was gonna actually
true,
have
though.
some fun.
It is. Yeah. Right. No.
But but since the age of since puberty, I was very suicidal until 28.
Okay.
And it was during the pandemic, so I was forced.
That was a wild time.
I was forced to see myself in the mirror and just kind of realize myself. And so I started the process of gender therapy, and I started with top surgery, and then got into testosterone. And then that's when I started to finally feel like myself. And during that time was the same time that I was starting a relationship with my now spouse. And I was scared to lose them, and I 1 month in, I was like, hey, I'm transitioning. If this is too much for you, I totally understand. And they were like, I thought you already transitioned.
See, those are the kinds of people you need to be around.
And
They're just
I
like,
was
oh,
like,
I don't. They're like, I don't care. I like you, right?
Yeah. And then so I was like, oh, you're the one. But it was that moment that I was like, oh wow, I can be loved for this.
Yeah.
And so once I started that, and I moved out of my parents' house, because coming out as trans, I was literally stuck in a closet where my mom was yelling in the closet, how could you do this? Why did God why are you destroying what God made you? Whatever. So my spouse drove all the way from LA to the Inland Empire to pick me up, and I never went back. And 2 years later, I reconciled with my family because I was going to propose to my spouse, and we put all the shit down, and I said, hey, I want you to be a part of my life. I'm going to start a family. I would like you to be a part of that experience, but we need to figure some shit out.
Right.
And I expressed how their rejection made me feel, how the influence of my negative father affected me transitioning, because I was feared that if I transitioned, I would become my father. And just kind of was honest about my feelings and how their words made me hurt. And I was like, that's how it feels. And they expressed the same with me, and we found an understanding. And but now as a parent, I have chosen to not have my father in my life.
Yeah.
And it has healed a lot of my inner child. And it sucks because my family still wants me to like try, and I'm like, no.
I mean, it's such a. I can relate. I mean, my dad and I haven't had like the easiest relationship. I mean, it doesn't have to do with me coming out or anything. It's just different personalities.
Yeah.
So I get it, and thank you for sharing that. I think I want people to hear Johnny's story because there's a lot of queer people that are experiencing not the exact same thing, but something very similar or even more crazy.
Yeah.
And so there's times where you have to choose between your authentic self and your safety versus like, for me in the past, it was like, do I wear a blouse or do I wear a shirt? You know what I mean? Do I put foundation on or I just, So there are different situations where I chose my safety in the past. And at one point, I was like, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm just gay.
Yeah.
Like, I like guys. Let me just try this out and find everything. And we won't get too graphic about how we found out. But, but there are times where you have to choose your authenticity and your safety. You talked about different ways that helped you heal with your dad and everything like that. So, just to kind of bring this full circle, what are some ways you can heal from all of this? I can start was like, for me, it's having the right people around. I have my tight circle. I have close friends. I have some really friends that I trust that are around me that just get it. I want to be that support and help people and heal from all that. And making sure, I think the viewers at home, like I've mentioned in the season of love, like just putting yourself in spaces that are helpful for your healing, whether it's the right living situation.
Yeah.
I'm finally in the right living situation. I've been for 2 years, finally, with a family member that is chill, a cat, and I live next door to one of my best friends, and so it's just like it helps you heal from that trauma and build that safety again. But what are some other ways that you feel like it's helped you heal from all that trauma? I mean, we're all still going through it.
We're all still going through it. It's a never-ending struggle. Because you're always gonna get triggered, and you're still having to face those and recenter yourself, like I was saying earlier. But I think, like you were saying, like just being surrounded by people, that bring me joy and bring me light and like believe in me and support me in everything that I do in and out of drag. Because there's sometimes that there's people that they just want to hang out for the drag part of you, but they don't want to know the real part of you.
Yeah.
And so I've been fortunate to have a real chosen family that like love me in and out of drag for who I am.
We're in some sort of drag family bloodline somewhere.
Yeah, thingy-majigs. But other than that, I think the most important thing is like getting to know yourself. Go date yourself, right?
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
because for me, like my therapist told me this, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Why am I gonna date myself? But that's when I started to realize and accept myself as like, yes, I'm a trans masculine person, but I'm very femme.
Right.
I'm a femboy. And that's okay. I'm allowed to do that because that's who I am. And I'm proud of that because I get to be however I want to be. I don't need to be a stereotype, which is something that queer folks need to know. Is like, you don't have to be the stereotype queer that is out there, like a butch lesbian that knows how to fix shit. Like, there's lesbians that don't know how to fix shit. There's also gay men that are not into Broadway. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be any of that,
I love musicals.
I love musicals, but I know some gays that hate musicals.
And there's some gays that can't fix and repair or anything. I call my friends for that stuff.
No, yeah. So I think that's a big thing is, like, your queerness is based off of your own inner self, right? So it's your queerness is validated regardless, but everything about you is totally normal. It's totally acceptable. You don't have to be a certain way. You get to be yourself.
Yeah.
Which is the beautiful thing about queerness. And you get to define your queerness, which is beautiful and magnificent. And the people that will love you for that are the true ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like go to events that make you feel safe. And, you know, if you like certain things, like nerdy things like Dungeons and Dragons or something, there's plenty of fucking queers out there that love that shit.
Yeah.
You know, just it's about finding your own community where you feel like you can be yourself and that you feel loved and that you can bond with other people. And
I don't think there is like a timeline or a rush. I feel like people feel like they need to be rushed to come out, and that's not the situation. So
you get to take your time.
Take your time. Take your time. Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Such a treat. I don't think Johnny and I have actually sat down and had like a in-depth conversation.
I know, this was really
I
nice.
just really have admired Johnny from afar and I think we both have seen each other grow in the past 5 years.
I know, I'm so proud of you. You're just like growing out here, and I'm like, just a baby.
You know, but I want to thank you for being here. I think
thank you.
For those who are out there, there are resources out there. I always point out the LGBT Center of Los Angeles for us queer folk. There are other avenues. There is the Connie Newman Trans Center in West Hollywood. But there are resources out there. You are who you are, and that is just beautiful. And it's just beautiful. And you know what? If I can add one more thing, if anybody hasn't told you today, I love you and I believe in you, and you can do anything you set your beautiful mind to, and you're awesome.
You're fucking awesome.
We believe in you so much. You can do it.
You can do it, kid.
That's it. I want to thank you all for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share as we expand this safe space together. And we'll see you next time. This is One More Thing with Ash. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.